Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show here on this Thursday as we get set for some big-time football coming up this weekend as the Buccaneers will be welcoming in the Baltimore Ravens, who are now on a losing streak in preseason football. So we'll have to take advantage of that. Peter Blake is joining me here. Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. As we look ahead to this weekend's games, and I, for one, am looking forward to the starters actually playing in this game, which will be nice. We're going to see the starting offensive line, the starting receivers. Wow, this is what a concept to see the entire starting team. So we'll get a little bit into that. Some Bucs talk. A big walk-off win for the Rays. Had two walk-offs last night.
Yes.
The walk-off that should have been.
Right.
And then the walk-off that actually was in the 10th inning. These umpires are just absolutely awful even in replay, which goes to New York, and then they make the decision, which is really bonkers. So we'll get into the silly replays that happened there last night. And also, we've got great guests coming up today. Scott Carter will join us from FloridaGators.com to get a little preview of Florida as they get set to head to Utah and a big opener for them in the second season for Billy Napier. So we'll talk to him at 11 o'clock. Our Jeeves Law Group Gator Report. Then at 11:15, our old buddy Nick Geddes will be back. He'll be bringing us our UCF report since he has forced me at gunpoint to include UCF as one of the major programs in football, and
right.
He's absolutely right. They are.
Mm-hmm.
So do we go with it? Well, you got the big three. I'm hanging on to that until you win the national championship. You don't get in the club.
Well, just a couple of years ago now, UCF claimed they won the national championship because they won undefeated. Right. Claimed.
So an official national championship. Let me state that correctly.
Right.
So you don't get into the club. You're still behind the velvet rope. Once you get an official national championship, now we can have a big four.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a big three, and then we'll have a significant five. Throw UCF and USF in there, and then FAU and FIU and whoever else might be playing football.
Some people would say, and this is biased.
FAU,
right. Well, some people would say, according to Florida State fans and Florida fans, that Miami's not even in that conversation anymore. Right? I mean, they're still big, but
they're in the conversation. I still, Mario Cristobal, I think that's just like Billy Napier. Let's give him some patience. We did with Mike Norvell.
True.
You got to at least into year 3 before you really start making, I think, solid judgments on how it's going. You got to get your players in. You got to get your systems in. It takes at least 3 years.
At least.
Unless you're a complete disaster and you can see these things like it's never going to get better. See Willie Taggart. Then I think you can make some judgments. If you're not in the top 100 in anything, there's no sign of doing anything, then maybe you can pull the plug. But no, I think Miami's going to be very interesting this year. I think they had a great recruiting year last year.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some momentum going. I think their offensive line is going to be markedly better than it was last year, and that's one of the reasons FSU was so much better last year is they finally got a decent offensive line to work for Jordan Travis to work behind and the running game. That's how they got to 10 wins. The biggest change they had last year was not in I would say the receiver position, certainly, but offensive line was markedly better, and that's why they were so much better.
And I would also say Jordan Travis and his progression.
Yeah.
And
that's this just in. It's easier to throw the football and run the football
when you don't have pressure on you, and then when also your offensive line opens up the holes, which will be we'll be watching that this year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers too.
Yes, we'll get into that in just a little bit. So crazy how that works.
Right.
And so anyway, we got Scott Carter, Nick Geddes will join us at 11:15, and what a treat! We got the affable and fun-loving Chris Myers, who's been calling Bucs preseason games for, I don't know, about 12, 14 years. I worked with him when I was doing sideline at News Channel 8. I worked with him way back when. So good friend Chris Myers will join us at 11:30, and we'll chat with him about this upcoming game with the Ravens. Todd Bowles, I believe, is scheduled to meet with the media at 11:45 post practice yesterday. So we're going to jump right in with our Rays from last night before we get to the Buccaneers stuff. What a win last night for them. If you were watching, this was kind of one of those games you thought was going to get away. Aaron Savali started, was really good. I thought 9 strikeouts, gave up 3 runs. Kind of some bad luck there. Just 5 hits last night. He was good. The hook was good. Poche comes in and gives up a 2-out single. You just need your bullpen to get out of that particular spot. So they go down 5-3 in the 8th inning. Paredes gets a home run. Rosarena had a home run last night, his 20th. Isaac Paredes got a home run, and then they rally again. And Yandy Diaz first of all, great at bats by Josh Lowe. Who else? Siri leading off. Their side armor, Lawrence, their closer was he hasn't been great, but he's got good stuff, but just can't close the deal. So some good at bats, and then Yandy Diaz comes up with a huge hit once again.
We talk about this. I mean, if he's not
Holy
the MVP of the league, obviously he's not going to because of Shohei Ohtani with the pitching and what he's done this year at the plate. But for the Rays, he's definitely MVP because anytime you need a clutch hit, he's going to get it. And then don't look now, Randy Arozarena is getting hot, which is great for this ball club going forward. And then, in the 10th inning, they rally with Brandon Lau, who comes in clutch, which this is great for the dog to come out and do what he's doing. So right now it's all coming together. And who's on base, by the way? The new shortstop, as always. That this team, again, 6-2 without Wander Franco.
How about that?
And pizza night again. If you're a pizza fan, you get half off at Papa John's. I mean, so it works out for everybody at the end of the day, and the Rays keep pace with the Baltimore Orioles, which is what they're going to have to do in order to catch that club.
Well, 2 games back still.
Yeah,
the 2 games back still, and of course the Rays have the crappy Yankees coming in this weekend. So this, by the end of this weekend. The end of this weekend, you might be able to say the Rays are in first place, but the Orioles just keep on ticking, man.
Yes.
I'm kind of shocked that they've been able to be as consistent as they've been. But the big story last night is what happens in the 9th inning after Yandy Diaz ties it. Isaac Paredes comes up, hits a kind of a nice ground ball in the hole. Was it third baseman or shortstop kind of backs up on the ball instead of charging it. So now you got to play at first base. He throws it wide, it's 2 outs. So if they don't get the out at first, game's over. Winning run scores in the bottom of the 9th. We're walking it off. And immediately the first base coach is pointing at the bag and telling, he's like, which is the international sign for his foot was off the bag.
Right.
And he had the best look at it. The first base umpire was kind of screened by the stretch. He was, out in right field in that position, and he has to come around to the front to see if his foot's off the bag. So he's kind of screened, doesn't have a good angle at it. He misses the call. He calls it out, and he misses the call. So replay, automatically we go to, we replay. Cash is like, yeah, first base coach saw this. And then they go to the replay, and you can see his foot is this far off the bag. You can clearly see
Thank God you got replay.
There is
right.
white. There is white cleats.
Yep.
There is white base, and in the middle there is what we call infield dirt. There is a space, a clearly created, obvious space. They're running the circle around it, and BA is on Bally's just going, okay, game's over. Let's go. Throw the water party. Bring on Trisha Whitaker. Let's do the whole thing. And we're sure. I'm like, Rays win. I'm like, there's no way that New York could say this isn't a safe call. And of course, there is a way they can say that. And it's just absolutely mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling when you have as clear as day evidence that this is, and this, you don't want to get into the crazy stuff, but if you got to go to New York, this is what I hate about going to New York. You automatically create this idea that it's possible for them to manipulate games, just like in the NFL. Why do we need to go to New York for someone to see the same thing that we're seeing here? Why can't the umpires that are umpiring this game right here have an umpire in the booth? You can have the umpires downstairs that are looking at it, whatever. It's clear as effing day that he is off the bag. And the whole idea of, okay, if you can't see something definitive, then you go with the call. Well, clearly in this case, the first base umpire was not in good position. So I think you should, in that case, give a little bit more leniency to what you're seeing on video.
Mhm.
I mean, in either way you look at it.
I mean, that's what the video replay. That's
play.
what the video replay is for in the first place, to get the call right, and you still get it wrong.
Yeah.
So you need a trip to lens crafters at the end of the day because you missed the call, and then on top of you missed the call again because you couldn't see what clearly you could see, I could see, fans could see. I mean that's the problem. I mean, even if you have replay, does it really work if the umpire is using the human element still, and it's right there clearly? I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's just like ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
So the Rays have to go, and and I tweeted this out as well. It's like, okay, if the Rays lose this game in extras,
Mm-hmm.
and they lose the American League East by 1 game or in a tiebreaker, you're coming back to this. I mean, the difference between going into the wild card and playing an extra series against the Astros and being the division champs and sitting that wild card round out and
Sure.
getting to go play Toronto in the first round with a home field advantage is, do I need to explain how ginormous that advantage is because these dipshits missed the call? I mean, are you out of your mind?
That can cost the team.
I mean, this is Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
This is not. I mean, little league umpires could get this right with replay. And this is what leads people to go, what's there some shady going on?
Right.
Like everybody, conspiracy theories everywhere. You know why there's conspiracy theories?
Because of stuff like this.
Because you give us the reason.
There's the doubt.
What the hell's going on?
Yes.
Like, we're not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just keep pissing on us and say, oh, it's raining. Don't worry about that. No, we can see with our own freaking eyes. So this is why in the NFL, it's the same. Why do we got to go to New York? Why do we got to go to Toronto?
Right.
By the way, like for an ice hockey, what are we doing? Like the people that can see right there, plain as day, replay should not be this hard. It's if everybody is sitting at a bar, half tanked, fully tanked, can get it right. Why can't these people that are paid literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, to get this right?
Here's a question for you right here. James says, what's worse, Major League Baseball New York or NHL and Toronto? Laugh out loud.
It's mind-boggling. I mean, how many times have we just sitting there watching a replay and then the answer comes back and then there's no explanation? Like, give me a little bit of explanation. Like,
something,
okay,
right?
Like, if you're going to go to Toronto, then let's get Mr. Toronto in the box to go. Yeah, I didn't see the and have it. Why can't we have the announcer go? All right, why did you not see the clear space between the foot and the bag? And then the guy has to go, well, I just couldn't see it. And then the announcer can go, well, are you effing blind, drunk, high, OxyContin? What's going on? Like, how can you not? Here it is. Look, dude, right there. Like, let's have a conversation. You want to have some good TV? That'd be great TV.
That'd be great TV, but be careful because if you're a broadcaster and you say anything, anything that offends anybody,
especially if you work for the Orioles,
right? Yeah. You may get kicked off the broadcast, even though it's actually fact.
Yeah, don't be mentioning facts. You can get suspended for that in Baltimore,
right?
Obviously,
right.
I just why can't we do that? If you're going to have a clearinghouse, then get my guy who just made the decision, and you come on and explain to me. Maybe he could say, "Oh, we didn't see that angle," and then I would go, "Why didn't you see that angle? Are you drunk? Are you high?"
And if you didn't see the angle,
the checklist again,
then I got a problem with you because that's your job. You have one job to do, JP, and that is to get the call right. And if you can't get the call right, then either you should be suspended or fired.
And like with so much other stuff, there's no accountability.
Right.
Like I said, let's get the guy. If the guy's going to be making a decision that's going to be determining whether the Bucs win this football game, the Rays win this baseball game, the Lightning win this hockey game, if they're going to be making this decision based on video evidence, okay, and we can't even get an explanation from these people, they can't be accountable and have to answer questions about doing it. I mean, I wasn't betting on the game last night, but if I were, I would just like to give me a reason why you did not end the game right there. Give me a reason. I need to know. I'm just curious. You obviously have a reason. So what is it? why can't we have some accountability from anyone? Our politicians, our replay officials, anybody. Answer the freaking questions. Do a press conference. Answer some questions. Be nice. That's all we want to do. Answer the questions. Anyway, so the Rays get there. Brandon Lau comes up. First of all, Fairbanks comes on in the top of the 10th and just blows away the Rockies.
Why can't we see more of that? Because
Great
he's and that's what you get with him as a closer. But there are times where we've seen it where he can't hit the broadside of a barn. So you need to have more of that, because
more
that's
consistency.
Right, more consistency. But you're exactly right. I mean, that's what you need. That's exactly what you need out of your bullpen, especially your closer.
Love this from my man James Flash Ludeman.
He's bringing it today.
The XFL perfected how replay should work. Give people a reasonable view into the process. Yeah, they took you into the booth. You heard their conversations. Why can't we do that?
Why not?
Why not pure transparency?
Just get Mike Pereira to come out in every league. I mean, because that guy, right.
If you're going to make the call, all right, look, there's bazillions of dollars on the line for gamblers. Why can't we let's listen in. Okay, if you're going to go to New York, let's listen in, just like the XFL. Okay, and here the guy's going, okay, let me see that replay. All right, I can see that, right? Okay. Yeah, the rule says that you can't put your hands on the player before the ball gets there. So let's freeze it right there. You can clearly see there's contact made by the defender before the ball arrives. Therefore, it's, back in the day when we were reviewing pass interference or, a fumble, you could say, okay, there's the guy caught the ball. To me, it looks like he has clear control. The ball is touching the ground, but he does have control of the ball. So yes, you may be seeing that the ball is hitting the ground, but in our view, he is controlling the ball as it hits the ground because the ball is bigger than your hands. That can happen. Nice. Okay, great. Now or if you're saying we believe that in this particular instance, the ball is hitting the ground. He has it in his hands, but we don't think that's control.
Right.
Like his hands are like this, it's not like that, whatever your reason is, if you're going to make a call, so what would the process have looked like last night if we were listening in New York to the baseball thing? Well, he could be going, okay, I'm looking at this now. All right. The ball is arriving. It's not in the glove yet. His foot is on the bag. Now his foot comes off the bag and now the ball hits the mitt. So that would be safe. That's what we would have expected to hear him say if we were listening in on the process, like we should be allowed to do.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Right? Why can't it be fully transparent? Why are we hiding it?
Right. I don't know why you're hiding it. I have no idea.
Or what would he have said last night? He would have said, okay, his foot is on the bag. Now the ball is arriving. Let's look at this particular angle. Okay, I believe the ball's in the glove before he pulls his foot off the bag. Now, if that's what he said, I would have been, okay, now that's somewhat plausible, even though you're completely wrong. The ball was not in the glove before he took his foot off the bag. So you're wrong. But again, at least there's some transparency to everybody now. We're just thinking, what the hell was he seeing? I think that's what he thought. I think that's what the guy saw. He thinks that the ball was in the mitt while the foot was still on.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe, everybody else who's sane and has eyes, that we believe the ball did not enter the mitt until his foot was off the bag. And that's clear as day, because we're all focusing on the fact that there is clear. It's clear. I mean, nobody can look at that and say his foot's not off the bag.
Right.
What I'm thinking, the guy in New York thought that the ball, because his foot was on the bag at one point, he thinks the ball was in the glove before he pulled the foot. That's where the whole thing comes in. That's where the rub is.
That's where the confusion goes.
But it would be nice to know that's what he thought. And then we could show him another angle and say, you're wrong there,
JP, to alleviate stuff like this from happening, do you want, and I'll throw this poll question out there to the fans of the JP Peterson show, do you want Major League Baseball to suspend or have some type of punishment if umpires are missing calls like this to alleviate all of that at the end of the day?
Say that again.
Do you want Major League Baseball to step in and suspend and discipline these umpires for missed calls like that to alleviate all that nonsense from happening?
I mean, I think there should be accountability.
Right. And there is no accountability.
What you're saying now is, we have a replay system and you still blew the call and you're suspended. But who are they going to suspend? The person in New York? Because New York's making the final call on these.
Right.
So you're not suspending the umpire at the field because he's not making the final call.
Right.
So to me, where the accountability should be is in the process.
Okay.
Like why not? Why can't we open the mics like the XFL did? Bring us into let's go to the replay room and let them talk us through it. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with transparency? You know what's wrong with transparency? They want to control everything.
That's it.
And that's the reason they don't do it. They could do it. Clearly the XFL did it, but they don't do it. Why don't they? Because they want to control the process so you don't know. And they can do whatever they want whenever they want. That's the only reason you can call it conspiracy theory. And then answer the question, why won't you just make it transparent? Well, that would end all the questions. Now we know it. You've talked it through. We've heard exactly what you're saying. And now we know why you made the decision you made. And anything short of that is just you wanting to control the information and not letting us in.
That's it. That's what it comes down to.
You can't have it any other
way. I mean, you would think that's the reason why the process is put into effect in the first place is to what? Get the call right. And you still don't get the call right. That's a problem.
Thomas Brown says you're playing a team 30 games under 500 in the 10th inning. Well, you shouldn't have been, number one, because you won the game in 9, clearly by the blown call. But I would say this, it's baseball. You know, baseball, even the worst team in baseball is going to win 60 games a year, 50, 60 games a year.
Right.
So, you know, it's not like football where you're a 25-point favorite. And if you lose that game, it's a complete disaster. It's a different sport. All right. Baseball and football are completely different in that. So, yeah, if you're the Rays, would you like to be pummeling these guys? Yeah. But you get 9 innings. And they won the game, in my mind, in 9 innings. And that's all I can ask them to do.
Really quick, Paredes, 25 home runs, over 75 RBIs. Last player to do that. Evan Longoria, the only player for Rays history to do that. And I was definitely very critical of the Meadows trade to Detroit.
Me too.
This kid has absolutely worked out for them this year. He's been a big part of their offense.
I'll eat that one. I was wrong. What I said was,
right.
Show me the 106 RBIs. Well, he did.
He did.
They did.
Absolutely. You traded,
yet, but
right.
Get there.
You traded your best offensive bat, and you got a guy that could possibly has been better than Meadows because ever since he got traded to Detroit, and it's almost like the Patriots, right? They used up their talent, and then once they go to another team, they're no longer efficient, even good. He hasn't even produced for the Tigers. So,
and he's had some mental health issues.
Yes,
maybe the Rays, saw coming,
right,
or were aware of, and as callous as it sounds, they traded him, but that's part of the game, man. If you sense that the player is having those issues and you think it's going to go south and you trade him, that's part of the game.
It is.
I hope he gets it right. We have compassion for him, but in a sense, it is a business. This is part of the business, and it's no different than a guy who has declining physical skills. Really, if it affects how you perform, obviously you have compassion for him, and we do. But if you're the organization, you think, I don't know if this guy's mentally tough enough to be able to handle everything that's coming at him. You move on. And they did, and they got a guy who's younger, better, more rounded, and maybe in terms of all his physical abilities, and cheaper. Shocking development.
It saves some money, and they still get more production than the guy they traded. Amazing in itself. Yeah.
I'm gonna get some other comments on baseball from last night, and this was this is why you don't give up the farm for Ohtani after the red flags that were leading up to the deadline. Absolutely. So one of the things I was saying to people about Ohtani is I'm not giving up all this to go get this guy, because if you especially the Rays, you give up all these assets for one guy and he doesn't work out, you're screwed. You're screwed, because the Rays, even though they could be spending a hell of a lot more money, they still have limited resources, limited prospects. Everybody does. You just can't give up. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, especially for a guy who's doing it on the hitting side and the pitching side, which obviously nobody's ever done. It's a lot of wear and tear. And unfortunately for Ohtani, it's his second UCL tear. And, those guys, it's tough to come back from 2 of them in 5 years. It's the track record is not good. If anybody can do it, it's him. But that's tough. But and I've said this many times, enjoy what you're seeing out of Ohtani, because this is it can't it's not going to last.
It's not sustainable.
It's
I
not
mean, what he's doing right now is basically being the modern day Babe Ruth, even better with the competition. And again, I didn't see Babe Ruth play, but you hear the
Are you
stories.
sure?
Eventually, he, yeah, he didn't pitch for long. He was focused on hitting. I would have gone for Ohtani, but what you had to give up, would it hurt your future? I'm going all in, but you're exactly right. Something like that. If you go all in and you put your eggs in that basket and it basically fails, then you're missing out on all those prospects. And then on top of it, you're not going to be able to have Ohtani for the full haul to really compete. So good on the Rays. We never thought they were going to do it in the first place. They're a team that is always looking to the future, keep their prospects in check. That's what the Rays do. That's the Rays way.
Yeah, James said the good news is as Brandon Lau batting 118 versus lefty got the walk off. Yeah, and I was like, Rene Pinto, righty on righty. Like, how's this going? And he got the walk. He worked the walk in that situation. So, Kevin Cash has a way of really pushing all the right buttons almost all the time. And again, Lonnie Wilkins. Good thing we didn't give up the form. How do you think? How do you think the Angels feel right now about not trading Ohtani?
Oh, well, I mean, it's a big question mark now because you could have actually got something now. You kind of wonder, like, is he going to go? Is he have any value for the Angels? And on top of it, for another team, he's coming in as a free agent. So now, does that get him to sign with the Angels for less money? Because you were talking about $600 million.
Yeah, that's out the window.
That's out the window
That's
now.
out the window.
And then this may actually be a blessing in disguise for the Angels, because is there a team out there that's really going to take a chance on him? So he actually may end up with the
Not
Angels.
At this point.
Right.
Not at this point. You can't. I mean, you don't know what his worth is, his total worth, and he'd be silly to sign a long-term deal unless somebody wants to throw $30 million a year at him already.
Wow.
And then he go, even after he tears his ligament, he goes out last night.
And they went all in. They traded for Giolito. They kept him. They went all in, and it's been a complete disaster.
And you know what that was? That was Artie Moreno.
Yep.
Then not wanting to be the guy that trades Ohtani. And I said it then. I said that should have nothing to do with, because I guarantee you the baseball people, well, I can't guarantee you because the people in Anaheim are just idiots, but mostly it's, it probably has mostly to do with ownership meddling. And, I'm sure that the baseball people, if they're worth anything, we're saying, listen, we can't just get nothing for Ohtani and just let him walk as a free agent.
Sure.
Let's go out and get a haul for him right now. And then we can still sign him after the season. Like, it's duh.
Right.
And so they end up getting nothing. Getting nothing for Ohtani.
No playoff appearance at all.
Now he's hurt. Now he's not going to pitch for another year and a half.
But I'll give Artie Moreno credit, because we always talk about it on this show. Well, because he actually likes to spend money and he's going all in. Maybe it doesn't necessarily work out, but he's at least trying. Our old buddy there, Stu, never does that at the deadline, besides, the guy that was pretty much washed up, and you don't spend enough money. So I can't fault him for that.
Well, here's my point.
Yeah.
Stay out of the business. You're the owner. Let your general manager run the team.
Yeah.
Let your people hire good baseball people. Let them run the team. Stu Sternberg, hire your people and let them run the team, and don't handcuff them with a $70 million payroll. And be honest about what you can spend on players, which you obviously could. If you were spending all the money you were making, we would have $150 million payroll. That's right, we would, folks. That's right. That's how much revenue these teams make. It's not just from ticket sales. So, we won't go down. We won't go down that rabbit hole today. But
$150 million. Can you imagine? I can't imagine waking up and having $150 million payroll, because I feel like if you had that, we talked about it yesterday, you would have multiple World Series at this point. Look back in the history.
You don't know that. You don't know that, but I wouldn't certainly be dismantling a pitching staff that got me to the World Series in 2020.
Agree.
Just because of money.
Right.
That would be stupid. And you got nothing in the Blake Snell trade, and you got nothing for Charlie Morton walking when he had a $15 million option on him, which was dirt cheap, and all the Braves pick it up and win a World Series.
11 Ks last night, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous. That was trash move, and it was all about money. But this team, and I kind of put this in the Twitter tease today. Wonder who?
All right.
What is the effect of taking him? We've been talking about this for about a week now. What is the effect going to be on this team with Wander being out of that clubhouse? I mean, clearly he was a spur under the saddle and there was issues in that clubhouse. And listen, in baseball, when you play 162 games and you have a clubhouse that doesn't function very well, and there's alphas that are fighting against each other, which clearly was going on in this clubhouse, it's hard to be a good baseball team. And since he's been gone, this team is what, 7-2,
6-2 now.
6-2,
6-2. Yeah.
Since he's been gone, they're scoring runs in bunches.
Yep.
They've won 3 series in a row now?
67 runs and 6-2. It's pretty good.
Wonder who?
And maybe that was the reason why your locker room is in disarray, because we heard rumors that it wasn't just an argument with Randy, it was other players on this team. I know I've talked to people in the know that tell me it was more than Randy, and maybe that was what upset the locker room. And again, this whole incident maybe galvanized that clubhouse and said, you know what, our back's against the wall. Everybody thinks we're basically done with the McClanahan, with all the injuries, Kevin Kelly, Manuel Margot out. Let's go ahead and show everybody. Let's show it. And maybe this is the reason why, as crazy as it sounds, maybe this is the reason why this propels this team to the World Series.
And I don't know about World Series.
Maybe I'm optimistic about it, but the way they're playing,
we'll see. Hard. I mean, the competition will stiffen up here a little in a couple of weeks or a week and a half. But right now, what can you say about this team? They're winning baseball games. They're winning series. They're putting runs. By the way, how about the late comebacks? 2 games in a row against the Colorado team.
7th walk-off for the year, by the way.
7th walk-off for the year. Their last 4 out of their last 5 games, they've come back in the 8th inning or later to win at home.
Right.
I mean, that's worth the price of admission right there. Don't leave early. Don't leave early at a Rays game. But that shows a little bit of confidence, and that shows a team that feels, look, we're never out of a game.
Mm-hmm.
We're never out of a game with the bats that we have. And they're really starting to put good at bat after good at bat. Josh Lowe's goes the other way last night. Yandy, you knew he was going to make contact and get the ball in play. Just so many good at bats last night. And look, this is a team that's starting to gain that confidence and a little maybe us against the world mentality. Nobody's picking them to do anything. Everybody in Major League Baseball has written them off. Because you lose Wander, you lose Franco. It's just like the Bucs. You lose Tom Brady,
you're done. You got 3-5 wins. That's it. Baker Mayfield's the starter. They're 5-12. That's it. Amy and Woody, I wouldn't like this. This is going to be bad for this team. They're going to be a bad team with all the talent they got on the team. Lazy take. And by the way, James says not World Series. Who knows? You don't know. That's the great thing about baseball. That's the great thing about this team all year long.
Hey, you know what? I'm kind of in this. Let's sit back and enjoy it.
I agree.
Let's watch it. Let's watch meaningful games in September. So
right.
Let's watch the meaningful games in September and enjoy it. And this team, honestly, without Wander, it's a little bit more fun to root for. And think about this. What if next week Wander gets exonerated? Or even just, all of this goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's maybe a little bit murky. It's like, we found that the accusers weren't credible. There was an extortion attempt, which is entirely possible, by the way. Entirely possible. And then the Rays, what do the Rays do? What do they put him back, put the banners back up, put him back in the promos, put him back on the website, welcome him back. And we're going to have a press conference to welcome him back.
Maybe the Rays know something we don't.
I mean,
and that's the reason why. That's the reason why you're taking down the banners and the commercials and everything else, because they may know something, and they also may
know.
What
if they don't? I mean, they can't know how this is going to work out.
I don't know.
They can't know that. So I'm just saying, what an awkward position. And I would even say to this point, clearly the franchise has not backed him in any way. There's not like, okay, we're going to let, we believe in Wander. We're going to let this play out. We're going to, he's still part of the franchise. They're like, wow, They did the same thing with the Montreal. They did the same thing with the Montreal banner. They put it up there, and then they had to take it down. That's way different.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, they're awkward in their way. So would it surprise
that was
me?
Just Major League Baseball telling him, "What the f are you doing?"
Right.
And Stu having to eat crow on that as well.
Do you want Wander? But do you want Wander back?
That's my point.
Right.
That's my point. Do you think the guys in the clubhouse want him back?
I don't know.
If they're on an extended win streak, if they go sweep the Yankees this weekend, and suddenly on Monday, Major League Baseball says we haven't turned up anything in our investigation, and the DR sets down their investigation, and they say he's reinstated. Talk about awkward.
Oh, it's
Talk
definitely
about
awkward. Yeah.
It's like now they got to put him back on the website. And like, yeah.
I said you play with the hot hand. Don't you play with the hot hand?
Sure, Uncle Joe just got out of prison. You're coming to Thanksgiving? Oh, okay, sure. We got a place for you over here. Are you done with the meth? By the way, don't bring any of the drugs to the house. When he said, "Can I bring anything?" We didn't mean the meth. So I mean, how awkward is that going to be for him to walk back into this? Maybe it won't be. Maybe it won't. Maybe all the boys will, hey, welcome back and blah blah blah. It just seemed from the outside looking in, from at least from an organizational standpoint,
they look better. They play better. They seem like a more loose team at this point, right?
Yeah, they do. There's no question about it.
I go with the hot hand. For me, I just go with what you have at this point, and even if he is cleared, I don't know. I don't know how you handle that situation. I'm not Kevin Cash. Kevin Cash gets paid the big bucks, I guess, to be one of the best managers. He's definitely one of the best managers to handle that situation, and it'll come down to the front office too and how they want to handle it.
James says they already had an issue with Wander before all of this happened. So now with a major issue, the writing is on the wall, it seems. Yeah, but again, what if he's exonerated? Then what?
Right.
This organization, I think at that point, and the trading deadline's passed, by the way, you can still trade him, but trading deadline is passed.
Right.
And this would not be, you certainly wouldn't be getting full value from him if you traded him now.
Would the Rays actually put him on some type of list to keep him away from the
union?
Team?
The union would say you can't do that.
Right.
You got to pay him. You got to play him, number one, and you got to pay him. You can't just look if he's cleared of this, and no charges are filed, and he's cleared. Baseball could still keep him on administrative leave. They could still do that because, again, we went through the list yesterday. A lot of the players that weren't even charged, but certainly weren't found guilty, were still given significant suspensions.
Correct.
So they're not waiting for an adjudication from a legal court in the U.S. or the Dominican Republic to make their call or even suspend players with their collective bargaining agreement. They can do it. So, but if they don't find anything, the union's going to go. The Rays aren't going to bat for Wander, but the union will, and they'll say, "Okay, you got it. Not only do you have to pay him, but you got to play him."
Yeah.
Boy, wouldn't that be awkward?
Awkward being the key word. You're exactly right. And they can suspend him because it goes with what the NFL does. You represent the Shield, you represent Major League Baseball, you represent the Tampa Bay Rays, and all that bad press is bad for the league in general. So
look at Lonnie said, you won't always love your peers at work, but when you get rid of them, well, Lonnie, who are we talking? Can we name names here, Lonnie? At work?
Yeah, give us some of that tea.
Some of your coworkers that got let go, and you're like, yeah, get rid of it.
That's great.
I think Wander is done here, probably a good thing, especially if we get some depth to add to this team. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not good that you lose your superstar, the foundation of your franchise for the foreseeable future, the next 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. That's not a good development.
No.
We would wish that he would have, if he is guilty, made some better choices, because this is going to severely handicap this franchise moving forward. I mean, I'm sorry, however you want to think about it, it's going to severely handicap this franchise moving forward. They put a lot into this dude. They've set up their systems around him. Thank God they've got good shortstops in the pipeline that they were probably planning on trading, but that they, now that will come up. So, it's not a good development. Getting him out of the clubhouse may be good short term, the way this team is playing, but I think in the long term, you just can't say that losing a talent like that is good for the franchise. It's not. It's a terrible development.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take our first break, and when we come back, I want to hear from Kevin Cash. We'll play that from last night and the great walk-off interview with Brandon Lau as well, with Trisha Whitaker. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Get that personal attention you so richly deserve. We had Scott Jeeves in here the other day, big-time Gator fan, very approachable. Give him a call over there at the Jeeves Law Group. Just contact them through the website and tell them JP sent you. Back in 3. Stay with us. The Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue. That's my carrier. Love them. Paying $800 less after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa, and for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Our good friends over there. Chris Lugo, who is my primary care physician, should be yours as well. My initial consultation, he spent an hour and 20 minutes with me. And then after I got my blood work done, we did another 45-minute call on a Sunday morning.
Huh.
And so he'll do appointments anytime that you need them. He'll spend lots of time with you. He'll look exactly what's going on with your metabolic profile, what things you consume or metabolize better, because everyone is different, including medicines. Everybody, Tylenol works for some people, it doesn't work for others. So there's a lot of stuff in medicine that needs to be personalized because of your blood chemistry, where you're at in terms of testosterone, where you're at in terms of other hormones. So it all needs to be personalized. And that's not something you're going to get with just your regular doctor who literally is going to spend 15 minutes with you and get you out the door because that's what he has to do. He's in a big group and that's what they're forced to do. This is different. This is Bay Area Modern Medical Center. You can use it in conjunction with your insurance, which is what I do. So it works really, really well. Just go to BAMMC.com, get that personal attention and that personal workout, personal nutrition, everything that works just for you.
Maybe I need to consider him because I have a bad back. You saw it yesterday. I have lower back problems.
But what he can do is like he looked at my situation and said, you need to go see the folks at BioSpine, which I've gone to before, and they're fantastic. So I'm headed back over to BioSpine. I got a little pinched nerve in my back that's giving me some numbness down my leg. So we'll get that. So he can write the referral, and then we move on from there.
Buddy, I think I got the same thing. I was feeling it yesterday, so I think I need to go see your guy.
Stop deadlifting 500 pounds, bro.
It's squatting. I was 315 and I had 5 and I went down for 6 and I should have just stopped at 5.
Yeah. You're not in the high school locker room, man. You're not in the Gator locker room. By the way, have you been watching the Swamp Kings?
I got to watch it,
dude. First of all, you can't miss my cameo.
Of course.
My cameo in episode 2. I made my Netflix debut, and of course, it's me saying the Gators are going to get blasted by the Buckeyes in the national championship game. Guess I missed that one.
You want to go on for that?
People did 17. And we got
it. Let's go ahead and get that. Here we go.
Take care of some business Monday night. Florida will be the underdog when the Gators beat top-ranked Ohio State for the national title on January 8th.
What an idiot. So that was me when I was working at Channel 8. Went out to Glendale, Arizona for the championship game against Ohio State. I think they were favored like by 14, 15 points. And the Gators had, if you watch the documentary, they had squeaked by a lot of opponents. The UCLA had to beat USC to get them in. Ryan Suckup, missed a field goal, got a field goal blocked against South Carolina, and Spurrier would have beat them in the swamp, and that would have derailed them as well. So there was a lot of things that had to go well for them to win that year, which normally does for any team that wins a national championship, let's be honest. So, so that all went well. And so I was out there and I'm like, just being honest, Ohio State's a great football team. And the Gators went out there and kicked their ass.
They did.
It was a huge upset, one of the biggest upsets in the BCS championship history. But I will say this, the documentary, and I was listening to a couple other shows and people who covered this team, and we'll have Scott Carter on at 11 o'clock. I don't know I think he did cover that team. There's a lot they left out. There's a lot that they've left out in this documentary. Not only factually speaking, they've left out a lot of players that were big time players, that were big time issues. They're making Urban Meyer look like this great coach. The dude's a complete freaking scumbag. I mean, are you kidding me?
What he did with Jacksonville, what he did with Florida,
even in Florida and I haven't seen episode 4 yet, but even in episode 3 where they start talking about Aaron Hernandez, they make a big deal out of him punching a guy at the swamp and just completely leave out the fact that he shot 3 people, and it's in the police reports. I mean, you completely leave that out, that he shot 3 people. Factual, go read the police report. He was identified as the shooter. But then when they went back to 3 days later to the people that identified him, who had then been visited by the gang members representing Mr. Hernandez, saying if you talk to the police, you're really going to be shot dead this time. Oh yeah, we don't know who it was. But Urban Meyer and the entire coaching staff knew that anybody go read the police report. It was Aaron Hernandez that shot these people, and it was completely swept under the rug. And in the documentary, they don't even mention the shooting.
I mean, how convenient. But wasn't that the game with Ted Ginn who got the long kick return? And that's also the year that Ohio State took on Michigan to get to the national championship. Everybody thought that Ohio State was going to be in that game, and you're right. They got their doors blown off by Florida.
Yeah, that was.
So.
It's definitely worth watching. No question about it. I mean, I'm in it.
Well, Netflix, whatever. There you go. But Netflix just charged me $20 for, and I'm not watching. I need to watch it.
Yeah, you need to watch it.
Okay.
Dan Lucas is in it. Dan Lucas has a nice cameo in there on the Tim Tebow recruiting.
Nice.
So he's in it. A lot of my friends and reporters are in it. So yeah, check it out. It's Swamp Kings, the untold Netflix documentary. Definitely some holes in it, no question about it. I'll report back to you after episode 4. Christopher Cole said such a waste of time. Oh, Wander Franco. Yeah, of course. All right. Kevin Cash. Let's get to Kevin Cash from last night because we're going to be moving on to the Bucs here in a little bit and won't have time to do that. So let's.
Well, you actually have Brandon Lau and Trish Whitaker, and then we're going to go out to Kevin Cash. So here's Brandon Lau, the dog himself. Here we go.
The crowd is chanting your name. What a heck of a game. What a way for it to end. Take us through your approach in that moment, especially considering what had happened to the offense the inning before that.
Yeah, I mean, it was just put together in that bat. I wasn't trying to hit a homer. I wasn't trying to do anything except get Curtis to the plate and move the ball over. Do whatever I could to make sure that I put together a productive at-bat, whether it be a productive out or what happened, and just make sure Basabe was standing on third base.
That bottom of the 9th was a wild inning, but we'll start with the very end. Isak Brady certainly looked safe on our replays. Did that motivate you guys a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what wasn't seen, but again, it's not something we worry about. It's not our call. We can't change what happened. Just happy that we came out of here with a win.
Let's talk Yandy Diaz. The man has been remarkable this season, particularly this last month. And today, tying that game up in the bottom of the 9th inning. What more can you say about just what that man does?
I mean, he was an all-star for a reason. The at-bats he's put together, especially being in the leadoff spot every single day, it's hard. You're getting a lot of at-bats to rattle off the at-bats that he does. And honestly, we saw Pinto walk, and it was... I figured the game was going to be over. Yandy walking up to the plate gave us all the confidence in the world. I knew that he was going to do something good, and of course he goes out there and drives the ball in the gap. We could work on the slide a little bit, but that's time for another day.
Last thing for you, back-to-back nights of rallies. This offense, though, this last month has looked a whole lot more like itself. Are you seeing a lot more plate discipline from this team? Perhaps what we saw really at the start of the season for the first few months.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got a lot of guys that have kind of come in to fill some roles. Curtis Basabe and then Lopi, and they've been incredible for us. They've given 100% even when things aren't going their way, and the effort's contagious, man. It's watching them hustle around the field. It makes you want to hustle yourself, and I think that's one of the things that's definitely helped kind of spark this lineup a little bit is just some of the people that have come up and just the contributions we've gotten from our young guys.
Contagious vibes right now. Brandon Lau, congratulations. Go celebrate.
I will, absolutely.
Dwayne and BA, let's send it back up to you.
Before we get to Cash.
Yeah.
How interesting. You know, he's given a lot of love to the guys that have come up. You know, no mention of Wander at all, but there's kind of a subtext there. You know, that guys are hustling around the field.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's a little subtext there. Makes me want to hustle. Trish asked a great question there about the plate discipline that he has shown, and a lot of others have started to show. But they went through that stretch where everybody was just trying to hit home runs and trying to get their individual numbers up and doing home run derbies and all this other stuff. Which I'm not saying Randy shouldn't have done it, but it definitely affected him. I think he got the home run-itis.
Yep.
I think Siri got home run-itis. A lot of these guys, everybody's just trying to hit home runs.
Correct.
And now it's just be more disciplined, get your pitch. Don't, take the walk when they're going to give it to you. Leave it to the next guy to get the hit and drive in the runs. That's the unselfish part. So a little different, little subtext there, I think.
There was, and from the people that I talked to close to the organization, take this for what it is. Brandon Lau was one of the players that actually got into it with Wander. They had an argument. So you could be absolutely correct about that with, everything being underlining there with him saying, hustle.
I heard it.
Referring to Wander. So
I heard it.
Just saying.
Hope you did.
Yeah.
All right, let's listen into Kevin Cash, his post game.
Thoughts to get to
Valley Sports Sun.
It's playing here. Yeah, let's see.
The crowd is.
I wasn't trying to do anything except get.
Start with the very end. Isak Brady
It's not something we worry about.
has been remarkable the ninth inning.
He was an all-star for a reason. The at-bats, I figured the game was going to be over. I on the gap.
Last month has looked perhaps what we saw.
They've been incredible for us. They've given 100%, even when just some of the.
Yeah, we're going to because it's not necessarily working out correctly here.
No worries, we're all good. Basically, Kevin talking a lot about those different, and he didn't have anything really to say about the missed call.
Mm-hmm.
You just want, sometimes you want him to go all Aaron Boone on the umpires, but he doesn't do it. Somebody from the organization should say something about that bullshit last night. It's ridiculous. I don't want to be that, this happens to the Rays from New York because they don't like the Rays. I don't want to be that guy, but kind of be that guy sometimes. It's just like, what is going on? That's just so stupid. All right, let's go ahead and hit a break. And when we come back, Scott Carter is going to join us from the Florida Gators. FloridaGators.com is our Jeeves Law Group Florida Gators report. We'll talk to him about Swamp Kings and how that's being received in Gainesville. And then also Nick Geddes is going to join us with the UCF report at 11:15. By the way, if you're a UCF person out there, you want to sponsor the UCF report, well, hit me up, JP at the jppetersonshow.com. Send me an email. And then Chris Myers from News Channel 8 Fox Sports calling the game Bucs and Ravens this weekend. We'll set that up for you at 11:30. Big 11 o'clock hour coming your way. Stay with us. Old coins sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't. So check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the folks at the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and Italiano Insurance, our good friends at Italiano Insurance, who saved me $1,000 on my auto premium this year, and they went out and shopped it for me. Charity, great customer service, as they always do over there. Human beings actually answer the phone. So shop your homeowner's insurance, shop your auto insurance, shop all your insurance. Just give them a call, 813-877-7799. Tell them JP sent you. Say, can you please just see if I'm paying too much? And chances are, I mean, we've told so many stories over the 10, 15 years they've been with us. You know, it's the $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 on homeowners insurance, business insurance. They once saved somebody $26,000 annually on business insurance. So let them shop it around and find out for you. It doesn't cost you a penny. 813-877-7799. Just go do that. All right. I think I just read something. The LSU lost Mason Smith to an injury along their front line. So as FSU and LSU get set to play in 13 days or something.
Should be an intense matchup, especially the way LSU lost that game. They seem like they have lots to prove, and then on top of it, FSU with high expectations.
Yeah.
Top 5 this year. We'll see if they can, fulfill those expectations.
And Pat Burnham from the Osceola will join us tomorrow, as he will each and every Friday, to preview FSU. But right now, we're going to talk some Gator football with our good friend Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. Scott, Twitter. What's up, Scott? How are you, my friend? Good to see you.
JP, how's it going, man? Believe it or not, what, a week from tonight, Gators against Utah. Hard to believe.
Gators at Utah. What's you ever been out there? I've not been out there. A little altitude, right? There's a little altitude.
Yeah, a little altitude. I don't know exactly how high above sea level, but certainly more than Gainesville, I can tell you that. And, it's a unique matchup. I mean, we saw it last year here in the Swamp. Gators upset, number 7 Utah at the time. Really got the Billy Napier era off to a good start, but it's a different experience this time. Having to go out there, JP, they're leaving on next Wednesday. Thursday's the game, obviously, and they're going to be tested right away with this new look Gators team that has 48 new players on the roster from the one that we saw last year.
40 new players. I read your piece on the offensive line put out there. I mean, our good friend Richard Garage from Cambridge Christian, my son's old teammate, is now gone. NFL, they lost some guys in the portal as well. Get this up with that offensive line, what that's going to look like.
Well, I mean, it's a revamped line. I mean, you're right. They lost 45 out of 60 starts on the offensive line.
Yeah.
The most familiar guy people know about is the center, Kingsley Egwakon. He's back, but they had to go out into the transfer portal, which is what you do today. And they got Micah Maskua from Baylor. He's the big addition, a guy who really did well at left guard out at Baylor. He comes in and, he had some shoulder issues in the spring, but he's healthy. He's a guy they really rely on there for production and, experience. From there, they added a Damian George Jr. from Alabama transfer. They added Lindell Hudson from Florida International transfer. So it's going to be a look of some newcomers, and a guy that's moved up is Austin Barber, who is going to play that left tackle spot where Richard Garage held down last year. He's a guy been around, really came on last year. So I think when you look at this team and just this matchup against Utah, JP, I'm going to really be watching that offensive line closely, because they need to show some muscle and toughness right away for this team to, kind of develop that running game, which we all know is going to be its identity if this thing goes the way they hope it does with Montrell Johnson Jr. and Trevor Etienne.
And so Graham Mertz, how has he looked in practice, in preseason practice? I've seen good reports from you and others. What do you think?
Yeah, I've watched him through the scrimmages in camp, and I do think he's looked better than he did in the spring. I think he knows more. I think he's developed some rhythm with the offense. I mean, obviously, when you watch Anthony Richardson last year, JP, there's not really any other quarterback that could come in and blow you away with what they can do physically. I mean, Anthony's such a unique quarterback, but Graham is just if he can manage the offense the way they hope and stay away from the key mistakes, rely on the running game, and we talked about how important the offensive line is going to be there. If he can take care of his business and do his job consistently, I think they can do some things offensively. But, if they get in situations where they're going to have to really depend on Graham Mertz to make game-changing plays every quarter, that's not going to go well for the Gators. I mean, that's just what they are with Graham Mertz. But I like his experience. I love the guy's attitude. He's come in. I mean, this is not an exaggeration. I mean, the guy's almost lived in the facility over here since he got here in January. So he's done his part to be that leader, to set the tone. And I think it's really helped where they are in the locker room. Now he's got to go out and do it on the field.
Scott Carter joining us here from FloridaGators.com. It's the Jeeves Law Group Gator Report. Defensively, last year I think the Gators took a step back from what we've seen in years past. Where do you see them this year, as far as especially up front?
Well, they've got to be better, JP. I mean, you said just last year, it's really been about 3 years this defense has not been very good. And, Florida has always they've had some great defensive players over the years, had some great team defenses, and they need to get back to that. And it does start up front. And I think they're helping themselves in the recruiting cycle this 2023 class by bringing in guys like Kelby Collins. He was a big addition. They've got young players like Chris McClellan, Tyreek Sapp, Desmond Watson. And one of the young guys, unfortunately, lost is Justice Spoon, who was being counted on. He hurt his knee in camp. Princely Uman-Milan is a name you're going to hear a lot. He's that edge rusher that people are excited about. I think he's really worked toward having a breakout season. And I like the defensive line better than the last couple of years. They have a little better depth. They have, I think, potentially better top-line talent. I still think they need to add another recruiting class before you can say maybe this is an elite defensive line, but they're certainly going in that right direction. And it's just a matter of, you hear it every year, JP, can some of these young guys evolve and develop quicker? If that happens, I think they can be better. If they don't, then the guys who are the veterans like Uman-Milan and Sapp, who played a lot last year, they really need to be productive.
Yeah, and that is the key really to this season, right? Is the young guys.
Yeah.
He's going to play a lot of freshmen and sophomores, right? I'm like, what's the ratio you think they're going to be in this group?
I'm looking right now. Let's see. I mean, Caleb Banks is a transfer they brought in. He's going to be a factor. Cam Jackson's a transfer. So they got a couple of those guys. But, those young guys like Collins, Cameron James, Gavin Hill, Will Norman. I mean, Will Norman's a guy who I think is going to be a good player. He's got a little bit of that old nasty in him that Brandon Spikes talks about. Well, I don't know if he's ready this year. If he is, then suddenly I like this class a lot better. But we'll find those answers out early because, they started Utah. Then they had that game. They have a game at home against gosh, Division II, then Tennessee, Kentucky.
Yeah,
So
Tennessee, yeah.
you know it's going to be tough. JP,
The first
right
four
off the bat.
games, I mean, there are people that are saying, okay, you got Utah on the road, and you got Tennessee and Kentucky. I mean, they could be 1-3. And
Yeah.
and listen, it's interesting because as you are watching Swamp Kings, right? When Urban first came in, there was, you get a couple of losses here and there, and it's like the sky is falling. And I think at 1-3, losing to Tennessee and Kentucky, I think you're going to get a lot of that. And I don't think that's fair, quite frankly, for Billy Napier, especially when you look at the recruiting class that he's got coming in. So, I mean, give me a sense of where Gator Nation is at right now. I mean, nobody's going to be patient, right? Nobody wants to be patient. They just want to win. But I think, I saw this with Mike Norvell. You got to take the victories where you can get them. And sometimes those victories aren't even in wins. You go up to Utah and you play that team tough, with a young football team. That's kind of a W. I know Gator fans don't want to hear that, but that's where the program is right now, right?
Well, it really is. Patience at Florida, JP, used to be, hey, we might only win 8, 9, 10 games this year, but next year, 11 or 12 potential now. But in the last, really, where we are right now, where this program is, it's talking about, hey, it could be, a 6 or 7 win season might be a good bridge to stand on going ahead. And you're right. Not a lot of people want to hear that, but I think because of what's happened the last couple of years, the transition from Mullen to Napier, back-to-back 6 and 7 seasons, some lower tier bowl games. I think even the most diehard Gators fans realize, okay, this is a reboot that's mixed in with all these landscape changes in college athletics. Where the NIL, getting a new facility here was big.
Yes.
But right when you get the new facility, well, guess what? NIL moves in, and now it's suddenly huge. So they're managing all that. And the thing that I've probably told you before, and I tell others, the one thing I think they made a good decision with Napier's a younger coach. He's been involved and in tune with that side of the sport for a while. He embraces it. He's not scared of it. He's not running from it. He's just going to figure out a way to make, to utilize it to help him. And I think the coaches and the programs that are going to find success in the next decade, it's going to be such a different world. But you have to embrace that stuff.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
But fans, it's hard to ask fans of any team to be patient. But I think this year, I sense more than usual. And they're really hoping that 2024 maybe is that big year. But sometimes a season like this becomes a lot more interesting than you think because, I'm looking at 6 and 6 and I'm being pretty honest about it. But I think, it could be worse, but it could also be better. So, I mean, who knows where this is going? We'll see.
Interesting stuff.
I got to ask you, Scott, what do you think can make this team better to go over that 6-win mark, in your opinion?
Well, I think for me, it starts in the old cliche up front on both sides. I mean, it really does. That's where Florida has really struggled, I think, on defense the last couple of years. They haven't had like a group up there that can really set the tone of a game and last through the entire 60 minutes. They need to get back to that physical, tough style of defense that they're known for. I mean, if you look at their stats the last 3 years defensively, I mean, they're in the lower half of FBS, and that's not where they typically reside. And then offensively, if the offensive line, as we talked about, can be solid and give that running game with Johnson and ETN, give them holes and let them do what we know they can do just based on last year. I think they can be better if the offensive line can help out. And it all comes back. Graham Mertz is this guy. Is he going to be the guy we saw early in his career at Wisconsin when, they had really rode him and he was the hope of the future? Or the guy who just kind of stabilized and, as we see a lot of places, kind of wore out his welcome. But I like everything about him as far as off the field. I'm really interested to see him on the field.
All right. What kind of feedback are you getting? Have you watched Swamp Kings? I've gotten 3 episodes in. And of course, my cameo was the highlight of it. No question about it. But me telling everybody how Ohio State's going to take care of business.
I laughed when I saw that because I remember that probably
I was interviewing you out there. I think we were both covering a team. You're probably like, they didn't use you saying, oh, they're going to 17-point underdog. They just dumped on me, but that's fine. I made the cut. But I would say the feedback I've gotten, Gator fans love it because makes Urban Meyer look good. I'm like, what are we watching here, man? I think they've left a few key things out. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect because I've watched some of those Untold series, and I mean, they've really. I've learned some things about certain events in the past that I didn't know about. But being so close to the program, I knew about everything really in that. So I didn't learn much new. It was interesting seeing some of the footage from their workouts back then because I wasn't here at that period. I came in 2010. And I can tell you, having been around the program closely now since then, I mean, I've seen some intense stuff, but nothing maybe that intense. But as a whole, I mean, you're right. I think a lot of people close to the program was wondering if it was going to be more of a hit job or how it would come out. I think the sense that I get since then, hey man, the Gator, this is a good day for the Gators. It's like a huge
dodged the bullet.
Huge recruiting tool. I mean, because you got to remember these kids who are here now and in high school, they don't remember Tim Tebow and Brandon Spikes and Urban Meyer. They don't remember those days. So I think for them to be introduced to that era and that team, and now they can see all this here that, hey, the swamp's still here. It looks a lot the same, and the colors are still the same. I think it helps in a lot of ways. But it was entertaining. And one thing we've learned about Urban Meyer since he's been in the public spotlight for about 20 some years, he never fails to entertain.
Well said. Well said. You can find him at Gator Scott on Twitter and at FloridaGators.com. All that free content up there. You guys don't have to go behind a paywall. And it's all the best stuff there from Scott Carter and Chris Harry. Good stuff, Scotty. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. Thank
you, Scott.
It was McNeese. That was the logo. I could not. McNeese. That's what I had a brain for.
Well, they shouldn't be on the schedule. That's if you don't know the logo, they probably shouldn't be on the schedule, right?
See you guys.
You're forgiven.
All right.
Thanks, Scott Carter, right there. Yeah, I think he's right. It's a great recruiting tool.
It is.
I mean, it really is. I mean, I thought it was going to be a huge hit piece, which probably missed a lot. But whatever. Good for that's good.
Yes.
It's good for I haven't seen episode 4, which I think is going to delve into a few more of the.
I got to do that this weekend and watch that and watch the Johnny Manziel thing and the quarterbacks thing too.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side, and our good friend Nick Geddes is going to join us to talk a little UCF as the Knights go into this season in a new conference, in a Big 12. How about that? So a lot new for the Knights. Brought to you by the great folks at Extravaganza Productions. If you got a big birthday party coming up, maybe a 40, 50, 60, if you want to throw a big party, you want to get professionals involved, you should. Let them do all the work. You enjoy the fun. Extravaganza Productions, they'll give you a free creative session where they'll take you through their warehouse and all their crazy props. And you come up with a great theme. They'll do that for free and show you what they can do. Extravaganzaproductions.com. Got a meeting, charity event, anything. Extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you. Back with Nick Geddes right after this. Stay with us. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. During COVID, over 1.7 million people were added to the Florida Medicaid rolls, but as of April 1st, 2023, most of these people may not be eligible for the Medicaid coverage and will lose their health plan. If you have been notified you are losing your coverage, don't freak out. It's very likely you can apply for a federal subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. Just call 877-652-0244. Our representatives will walk you through the whole process, get some basic information on your income, number of kids, and then they'll find a plan that best fits your needs. In fact, with the new laws, 90% of Americans qualify for reduced or free health care. You can select great plans like Florida Blue. That's my carrier. Love them. Paying $800 left after making the call. 877-652-0244. Our highly trained professionals know all the intricacies of the new laws. They will do all the work. You save tons of money. So if you're being dropped from Medicaid, fear not. Call 877-652-0244. Get real health insurance, free doctor visits, free blood work, no deductibles. 877-652-0244.
Hey, JP here for Extravaganza Productions Incorporated, EPI. You've probably seen their purple logo at so many events that you've gone to. They are based in Tampa. And for over 33 years, they've been creating and producing conferences, meetings, and special events, the biggest to the smallest. Solid reputation of delivering the best audio-visual, sound, lighting, entertainment, video production, and decor on time and on budget. I've worked with them with so many big events. The Warrior Games, which was an Olympic-style event all over Tampa Bay, from McDill to the Convention Center to USF. They did it flawlessly, made it look big and fantastic. I've worked with them on small events as well, large and small meetings and conferences, sporting events, fundraisers. If you got a fundraiser, you don't know the logistical way to pull it off, they'll take care of everything. Entertainment events, branding events, grand openings, so much more. The folks at Extravaganza Productions are the most professional and the best. I've worked with them many times. They are fantastic. You can contact them through extravaganzaproductions.com or call 813-621-4700. Extravaganza Productions, they are awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All righty, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at American Mortgage Services. Get my good friend Scott Fitzgerald to write up your new loan. He's done 3 of them for me. They'll have the lowest fees. They'll shop it around and refi it right now, even at 5-6%. That's cheap money compared to the 29% you're paying on your credit cards, right? So get that refi or get that new home. They'll get the lowest prices for you. Scott Fitzgerald, get him at scott@amstampa.com. All right, well, let's bring in our good friend Nick Geddes, the former co-host of the show. Well, now, to do our stuff. My friend, how are you?
I am doing great. Look at that. Not even a week has gone by, and I've already found my way back onto this show. So definitely excited. What sucks, though, this is my first week of freedom, and I'm sick. I got a pretty bad cold, and I've been down and out all week. So if you're asking me what I'm doing with my newfound time, I've done nothing. Nothing but rest.
Sit and try to get better?
Yeah, sit and try to get better, Powerade, that's it. That's all I'm doing right now.
All right, well, then you've been...
No. Quarterback? Are you optimistic about this new venture into the Big 12?
I think for year one, expectations need to be tempered a little bit, and I think in general, like the UCF fan base, which I think has been a little impatient in recent years, and I think that's trying to recreate the success they had, 4 or 5 seasons ago, I think is on board with, being a little bit more, cautious going into the Big 12, because you look at the schedule, and in particular the meat of it, they're going to have to go on a 4-game stretch where it's at Kansas State, then you get back home against Baylor, and then you're at Kansas, and then you're at Oklahoma. That's the meat of the schedule. There's no Temples laying on this roster anymore. There's no Tulsas, East Carolinas, who they've struggled with in recent years, by the way. They're not on this roster, or they're on this schedule anymore. So it's going to be tough sledding, I think, in year one.
But that offense could be really explosive, right? And I know not calling plays this year. Tell us about the new offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Darren Henshaw comes in, who, if you were a UCF fan from yesteryear, he was the all-time leading passer at one point at the school. And he comes in and he's expected to call plays, and we're still trying to figure out how different the scheme is going to look like. I'm sure Gus is going to have his influence in some ways on this going forward. You mentioned John Rice Plumlee coming back. I think if UCF is going to take a step forward, they need John Rice Plumlee to take a step forward as a passer. I know that he's going to be a great runner. I mean, he almost got to 1,000 yards last year. He ran for 1,000 yards his first year at Ole Miss. So I know that he can do that well, but passing, and in particular, those intermediate routes, 10 to 20, where he needs to pick up yardage, first downs, things like that, I think is where John Rice Plumlee needs to improve the most. But the really good thing is they have, I think, one of the best, arsenals of weapons on the offensive side, at least in the Big 12, I think.
That's Nick Gendrich joining us here. Talk a little bit about the defense. I think 6 starters return on the defensive side.
Yeah, the defense, I actually have to tell you, I think I'm pretty excited about. And I think a lot of people look at UCF, and you led off with it about the offense. I don't think that the offense is going to be what leads this team. I think it's going to be the defense, as it was last year for at least the first 6, 7, 8 games of the season when the offense was still trying to find itself under John Rice Plumlee. And in particular, they brought in a couple transfers in the secondary, which needed to be overhauled. This kid, DeCorian Patterson, might want to write his name down. I think he's going to be really special. He was at Middle Tennessee. He led the entire nation in interceptions this past year, and his best game of the season came against Miami in that win down in Hard Rock Stadium. So very excited about what he's going to bring, and this defense coming in. John Walker, their highest rated recruit of all time to this point on the defensive line, expecting him to get some playing time as well. And, he committed, to UCF over Florida, might I add. Let me get that stick in there. But I think he's going to play a pretty good role as well this season, and I think the defense is going to be better than many people think.
Who's that backup quarterback?
Timmy McClain. Well, I'm higher on Timmy McClain than most at UCF, I think. I love Timmy McClain.
You think he'll get a shot?
No. I really don't. I don't. I mean, with Thomas Castellanos transferring out, he's got the opportunity to be the number 2. Obviously, I think a JRP injury away, clearly he'll get in there. But they have this other kid, Dylan Risk, who's coming in, and, but he's a true freshman, highly rated quarterback. Do they want to burn that red shirt in year one like they had to do last year with Mikey Keene, I believe? Probably not. So I think Timmy McClain will be the number 2. And like I said, I mean, we watched him at USF. I thought he's got some good tools, and I think he's a good fit for the offense.
All right, what's your final prediction for UCF?
I am going to go right down the middle and say 6-6. 6-6 to me would be a successful season. This is not like last year when they led off with Louisville and they lost that game that they probably should have won. And I'm exiting, the stands there at the bounce house, and I'm going, the season's over. It's ruined. We couldn't beat Louisville at home in week 1. It's over. It's not going to be like that anymore. I think the schedule, you start off with Kent State, then you got to go all the way out to Boise. That's very unpredictable in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, and then you get the let up against Villanova. I think if they can go 3-0 to start the season before they get into Big 12 play, and then you win 3 of those games, get to 6-6, bowl eligible, I think that's a successful season myself.
All right. That is UCF reporter. Thank you very much. Hit you up next week, buddy.
Absolutely. Y'all have a good one.
All right. I think it's going to be an interesting year. I'd like to see Timmy McClain get a shot.
I wanted to ask him, what does he think of the expectations are with the fan base there? I mean, are they excited about it?
They got to be.
Right?
It's the Big 12. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. So, absolutely.
All right, we'll take another quick break. When we come back, Chris Myers will join us from Fox Sports, also doing the Bucs-Ravens game, as he's been doing Bucs preseason for probably 15 years now, back when I was working at Channel 8. That's how long ago that was. Yeah. So we'll chat with Chris Myers when we come back. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. Hey, if you got any flatware at home, silver coins, gold coins, old jewelry that you haven't worn in a long time, bring it into the Gold and Diamond Source, and they will pay you cash money. They pay big money for that stuff. So you never know what it's going to be worth. Why not bring it in? It's just sitting there in your closet or in your dining chest, right? You don't have to tell Mom. Just bring it in. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Tell your mom. Don't just take it. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Back in the few with Chris Myers. Stay with us. Old coins sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you looking to lose weight or just lean up for bathing suit season where there are so many diets and chiropractors and weight loss clinics out there? You don't know where to start, right? We'll start at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo, PA, and his professional staff will devise a personal plan for you that gets results and will help you keep the weight off. Everybody metabolizes food and supplements differently. Many of these other approaches are designed for the masses. So how's that going to work for you specifically? It's not. Chris will spend one-on-one time with you to find out what works best for you so the weight comes off safely without the use of harmful drugs and side effects. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. Unfortunately, Chris Myers is having a little technical issue. on his end for the StreamYard, so we won't be able to get him on, but we'll chat with him perhaps another time. No problem. We'll get him on. Technology. Sometimes it works great. Sometimes it doesn't. But today's been much smoother.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes.
We're getting it.
It's
so. Thank you guys for hanging with us. I know we had a little bumps in the road, but as we did when Nick came on board, so it's just all part of the process because so much of this stuff. I mean, we're doing a 2-hour TV show every day.
Basically,
it's not easy, folks. A lot of stuff has to go right. And once you get your systems down, everything's
and trust me, we're going to incorporate phone calls. We're going to incorporate more stuff here into the JP Peterson show. That's the reason why I came aboard in the first place, to improve it.
So you guys you can call up and heckle me. You want to be able to do that, right?
Of course they do. Not just on, and they heckle me too. Hey, that's not Scott Reynolds. You're exactly right. It is not Scott Reynolds. Thank you very much for tuning in. But at the end of the day, at least they are tuning in, right?
They're tuning in, and we could hear him. I know we had a little echo with Nick. I think that was on his end. We're going to blame him.
Okay.
For that.
We'll blame him. We love Nick Gaddis of the show.
Yeah, all good though. We got the information that we needed.
Yep.
I'm just so glad freaking college football is here. Like,
yes,
like next, a week from tomorrow.
Yes, I'm ready.
It's they play Saturday night. A week from Saturday, the Gators play at Utah.
That's right.
In week 0.
Yep.
Then FSU is
September 3rd.
Yeah.
September 3rd, right before Labor Day.
Crappy Camping World Stadium.
Yeah. Who made that? Who made that arrangement? There. Couldn't think of any other. Why not in Tampa? Because you got Florida State fans here. Why not in Raymond James Stadium? They do it up right.
I need to ask my friends over there why we don't do a preseason game.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we have a great stadium.
Right.
Great. It probably has something to do with getting it ready for the Bucs season.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You're going to have plenty of time to get it ready for the Bucs season because the Bucs play on the road to start versus the Vikings. Plus, you have 2 weeks in between there, right?
Yeah. I mean, who does?
I just sold it.
Pregame bowls better than, or bowl games better than we do, and have a preseason game. Like, imagine if we had just one of the Florida teams coming in here, be it Miami, Florida, or Florida State.
Be awesome. You could sell it,
obviously, play, or just have 2 teams, that from wherever. It doesn't really matter. Have a nice Big 12 or versus Big 10 or something.
Outback Bowl or ReliaQuest Bowl. Anybody? Yeah. I mean, that's pretty amazing what they do. The national championship game in 2017, right?
All right, so a couple. Let's get to the Buccaneers because we were going to talk Bucs with Chris Myers. Baker Mayfield had a really good day yesterday at practice. I was not there, but chatting with some people that were at the practice yesterday, said he had a really, really good day. Ripped some inside throws to Mike Evans, a deep ball to a wheel route to Rachaad White. Man, I mean, we haven't seen shit from Rachaad White.
Nothing.
He's going to be huge. I mean, the offensive line, I want to see them all work together. I mean, obviously, and this is stuff about, well, we don't want to show anything. I mean, this is the NFL. Everybody runs the same plays. And I know it's going to be a different seeing the Bucs run this kind of Rams Seattle hybrid offense, but obviously the Vikings are going back to see what Canales and the Seahawks did last year. It's nothing, saving it in preseason, I think, is so overblown. Like, you know what you ought to do? Execute the hell out of it and get some confidence. That's what you ought to do.
Agree.
Go out there with the first team and get some execution going, get some confidence rolling, throw a couple of touchdown passes. Wouldn't that be because here's my coaches used to tell me all the time. It doesn't matter if they know what you're running. Execute it. If you execute it with your talent, that's what wins. Execution.
That's it.
Everybody's prepared. You might get 3 or 4 plays in a game where you surprise them out of a certain set. But for the most part, it's talent on talent. You got to beat them. And the Bucs have some good talent. They've got some receivers that can win. They got a quarterback that can freaking throw the football. People forget how, Baker Mayfield set the record at the combine for velocity when he went to the combine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he can throw he can throw the ball 70 yards. People forget this. The guy's got a freaking cannon. If you watch him out there, he can let it rip, and he throws really, really well on the run. He's so tailor-made for this offense. And again, we're not making Baker Mayfield out to be Aaron Rodgers, but I think it's going to be a drastic improvement on the quarterback play of last year. So I'm excited about it.
I'm excited about it too. And I tell you right now, we were talking about fantasy football and still, getting requests here if we're going to do a fantasy football league. How many yards do you think Rashard White has? Over 1,000, in your opinion? I think he could be a dark horse.
I think if he stays healthy, he gets, I'm going to say it, 1,200 yards from scrimmage.
I agree. I say 1,200 yards, and then also because he can catch outside of the backfield.
80 a game?
Yeah. I mean, he can catch out of the backfield, so you could also get some yards there with him catching.
That's what I'm talking about from scrimmage.
Oh, from scrimmage.
Yeah, I think, and
I think you could have 1,200 yards of rushing, and then you add on another maybe 300 or 400 on the passing game. I think it's certainly possible, and you can get him in the 7th round. By the way, that's the projection.
How many people do we have signed up for fantasy football,
Mr.
Commissioner?
I haven't seen anybody. I've seen some people yet, but I haven't had any confirmation. So still trying to work on that.
You got to come into the comments and say, "I want to play fantasy football. Count me in."
That's it. Count me in. Jeremy Lowe says, "Or
all right, you're in.
So you're in.
Write him down.
Jeremy Lowe. Yes, I'm writing it down right now. This is what I got to have. You got to produce the JP Peterson show. You got to have a notepad in front of you. Make sure you be writing down notes because you forget. I can't remember everything. That's what I've definitely learned about this show here the last week.
Let me see some of these comments here. I want to do mostly Bucs. In fact, let's get to Todd Bowles yesterday from post practice, talking a little bit about what he saw in practice and where some of the young players are at.
Lightning today, I guess. Yeah, Brass came out here, heat instead of ice. It was good to see him.
Recently saw a podcast, Manny Diaz, I guess you know who he is, defensive coordinator for Penn State. He was saying their analytics show that most turnovers happen on 3rd and long, and that they emphasize that's a huge emphasis for them, 3rd and long takeaways. And I think they were 7th in the country last year. What do your analytics say? Is that comparable to the NFL or not?
No, I think it varies in college and the NFL. It's different each game. I have to look at the analytics for sure. We get a lot on 1st and 2nd down, I know for sure. We get a lot of sacks on 3rd and long. If they're not throwing screens, I know the sack rate is up high, but I'm not sure about the turnovers in the NFL.
Coach, early in practice or fairly early, you brought the team up. Done that before. Just what was it you wanted to see more of or less of?
No, we were just talking football, nothing to talk about really.
Not that I'm going to tell you.
How much does analytics kind of go into your defensive strategy and how you look at that sort of thing in the modern game?
It goes during the season. It goes hand in hand. You look at it enough to where you try to get some tips, but you also have to look at it enough to where you don't rely on it completely. I mean, situations bring up things where you use it a lot. I think it's very, very beneficial, and it helps us.
Back to Saturday's game, what was your vantage point of Trey Palmer's touchdown pass where he kind of tipped it to himself?
From where I stood, it looked like he tipped it to himself on purpose. I'm not sure if he did or not, but it was a heck of an athletic play by him. I don't know if he could have got 2 hands up at that time where he thought the guy was going to get a hand on it, but it was a heck of a play.
Coach Logan Hall probably will, you think, will play a bigger role this year. I mean, he's a former first-round pick. He had guys ahead of him. Just what's been the growth of him, and has it just been a matter of not being able to get on the field as much these first 2 years?
No, for him it's been scheme. His first year, he's starting this year. Obviously, he's come a long way in the spring as far as understanding the scheme and the run game, and you don't have to teach him right now. He knows everything, and we like where he's at. So he'll be starting this year.
Coach Kaladja's been out here, no sleeve, no brace on. Is there any update on his status?
Status quo.
Kaladja can't see. Status quo. I need to see me some Kaladja Cansey. I was so excited to see him play in this defense. We're not going to see that till week 1 at the very least. He's not going to play in this preseason game.
And you kind of wonder, what kind of start is he going to get off to? Is it going to be a slow start like Vita Vea? And all you heard throughout the camp is how impressive he was. He was showing moves and explosiveness and first step, and that's exactly what you want out of your first-round pick, especially when he's being compared to the likes of Aaron Donald and John Randall, who, by the way, could have played for Tampa Bay if they were willing to, take him because of his size at the end of the day, play him where he wanted to play, not at linebacker, but defensive tackle. But with that being said, it turned out pretty good for him, not for the Bucs, of course. His brother, Urban Randall, played for the team, which is crazy to say.
Stupid.
Yes.
Made a lot of stupid decisions back then. All right, Trey Palmer, who the aforementioned Trey Palmer, has been a tremendous surprise. 6th-round pick, steal, but he hasn't done anything yet, right? That doesn't have a single
done
stat.
anything.
We already got
Right.
him in the Hall of Fame. Everybody
Right.
does. But there's reason to be excited about this young man, no question about it. Let's listen in on his interview post-practice yesterday.
Right, another preseason game, another highlight reel touchdown. Can you kind of just walk us through that play? Obviously, tipping the ball to yourself. Got a lot of people talking about it.
I mean, before the play, was me and the receiver was talking about whoever get the ball go score, and it is blitz just came to me, and I made the play. I just saw ball get ball.
Saw ball get ball.
Your no name, no face comment has become, some of them after what happened at camp with Sauce Gardner and then your 2 touchdowns this preseason. Is that your own mantra? How did that kind of come about?
I mean, my coach always used to tell me that since I was a freshman in college, so it just always stuck with me, and that's what I go by now.
What does it mean exactly?
It means just, I don't care who you is, what's your name. We all just playing ball at the end of the day, and I'm just making a play and competing.
No name, no face.
Unfortunately, there's a tough injury to Russell Gage, who will be out for the season, and everyone else has to move up. There's a lot of people, a lot of wide receivers lobbying for that wide receiver 3 spot. Do you feel a little more of a sense of urgency, whether it's from you or the rest of the wide receivers, because there's a big opportunity there for everyone to take it?
I mean, we all just working together and really just trying to help the team win. We just competing at practice, really just getting better and better each and every day. So it really ain't no like we praying for my boy Russ, but we just all just compete, trying to help the team win.
Yesterday, Coach Bowles announced that Baker Mayfield's going to be the starting quarterback for Week 1 of the regular season. What have you seen from Baker, from both, as a quarterback and as a leader too?
I mean, we got 3 great quarterbacks, and they all just competing, helping us get better, telling us what we need to do, what we need to be at, and we still just working our time and connection.
Come on now.
Kind of, like you said, maybe
better kiss up to that starter.
Top 10 sports centers catches.
Say nothing.
Catches so far.
Come on, man,
Do you
learn.
practice that on your own, or is that just something that happened naturally?
I mean, it just happened naturally. I mean, I work on it at practice, get extra after practice, catching jugs and stuff like that. And then when I see the ball, I just see the ball. Like, there's nothing around me, I just see the ball.
See ball,
Tunnel
catch
vision.
ball.
One thing that was highlighted a little bit with the Bucs joint practice with the Jets in that preseason game is a friendship with Garrett Wilson. How far do you guys go back?
It's crazy. I think it was like 2017 to 18. We was at the opening, we was roommates. And that's how I all popped out. We were roommates at the opening.
The opening?
That's what it sounded like. Yeah.
What are you trying to prove moving forward? One more preseason game before the regular season. Is there anything else left that you want to do, or just kind of keep the train rolling?
I mean, I'm just trying to keep the train rolling, really just work on my footwork and get more into the playbook and really just learn the playbook from inside out so I can just move around in different positions, help the team win.
Is it kind of setting in that your first NFL game is approaching in Week 1 against the Vikings? Preseason wrapping up and getting into the full swing of things?
What'd you say again?
Is it kind of setting in that your first NFL game is coming up against the Vikings in a few weeks?
I mean, I know, it's no name, no face. I don't care who out there. When I'm matched up against another opponent, I just go play. I don't care who you is. I'm just trying to go play and win.
All right, so there you go. Good stuff from him.
It seemed like he's affected by the moment, the big moments or anything like that. I'm just going out there and playing football. I like that attitude.
That's the impressive thing. And you look back, last week, and I didn't get a chance to see Hard Knocks, but you remember the 65-yard play against Sauce Gardner. He didn't really care. He just doesn't care if he's Sauce. He's going to run right past him.
Yeah.
He's not too big for the moment, and that's the reason why I think a lot of Bucs fans are excited. I think this is the reason why Jason Light in this Bucs organization is excited, because the kid it's not affecting him at all. The whole spotlight doesn't seem like it's affecting him. So pretty amazing. A 6th-round pick. I mean,
I don't get it.
How do scouts miss him? And then you're a team.
He was the fastest receiver at the combine.
I mean, is that a fireable offense? I get it. Scouts are not perfect, but if you miss a player like that,
it's not just 5 or 10 teams.
Right?
32 teams passed on this guy 6 times.
6 times, yeah.
Or 31.
Right. Same thing. Right.
I mean, he's 6 foot tall. He catches the foot well. I think that was the knock on him. He had some drops at Nebraska.
That's it.
And I think and if you're not putting up numbers as a freshman, but you're behind freaking Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase at LSU.
It's tough. It's tough to get on that depth chart,
You know?
right? But there's talent there. He has talent. It's just because
I mean,
of the
normally
other
when you have
guys.
size and speed, it's
Right.
like, we'll take a chance on you, even if you weren't productive. But the dude was productive, size and speed. I mean, as far as I know, I don't know any character marks against him, right? There wasn't any,
No character remarks that I saw
that
at
he
all.
tested positive for anything like
No.
that. I mean, that's not been out there. What a find.
I'm telling you.
I mean, look, there's a lot. I think he was the 20th receiver taken. The 20th receiver taken in the draft. I mean, if there's 19 better than this cat,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, there are a lot of great receivers out there. Don't get me wrong. And they all have size and speed. It's like Bowles said the other day, it seems like they all run 4.3.
Yeah.
But they don't all run 4.3.
And he's in Jason Light's wheelhouse because you know that Jason Light has a propensity of drafting a Nebraska player. And then on top of it, LSU. So he was at LSU and Nebraska. So that's Jason Light right there, getting guys that are athletic. And usually it's either LSU or Nebraska. In this case, it's the best of both worlds.
It seems like he hits more on lower draft picks than he does on the higher ones.
To a certain degree. A lot of people have been critical of his lower draft picks, but you look at this draft class, it definitely has an opportunity to be very special, especially with the undrafted.
Well, I think the guys that we're talking about here, and they're not busts yet.
Right.
I mean, they're just, first, second year guys. But, Kyle Trask was a second round pick. What are you getting out of him?
Right.
Look, you needed a quarterback. You needed to draft a quarterback. You needed a quarterback for the future. I don't think it was a crazy pick. Now, could he have helped the lines, the offensive and defensive line? Yes, there were some guys that were there, but at some point, it's the most freaking important position in football, a quarterback. So
right.
I'm not going to crush him for trying to go out and get a guy who was an all SEC quarterback throwing for, 4,300 yards and almost 50 touchdowns. So,
yeah, 43-8. I mean, it's a pretty good season.
Let's
pump the brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to crush that one. Now, JTS, show me something.
Oh yeah.
Logan Hall, show me something.
Yeah.
Cody Mount, show me something.
Mm.
And I think his last game he showed me something.
Right.
He showed me some pancakes. He showed me he can get after it. Showed some nice mobility. I like what I seen. Luke Gedeke, show me something.
Please show me
something from you.
If you're going to be a right tackle in this league, you got to play better than that, because if you're a swinging gate, you're going to get the quarterback killed, and you can't afford that. You can't, because you know that Baker also turns over the ball.
Come on now.
He turns over the ball a little bit too much, but it doesn't help when your right tackle isn't blocking, because that causes fumbles.
Yes, it does. It does. But no, I like the talent that they've assembled, the talent on this roster. Because when you think about it, if you go up and down the roster, first of all, you go defensively. Your two outside corners. You could say what you want. Like, they haven't made it to the Pro Bowl. They're not. You know what? Market value. If Carlton Davis was going out on the market, he would be he would have been the number one corner on the market. We re-signed him last year.
Correct.
If Jamel Dean was going out on the market, he would have been the number one corner on the market this year. We re-signed him. So don't tell me those guys aren't highly coveted players. They may not have all the Pro Bowls you want, but they're damn good cover guys. Now, if they could catch the freaking ball, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
That's it doesn't happen overnight. That's a maturation in the league. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Antoine Winfield is, that guy's a Pro Bowl safety, and this Brian Neal looks like he's going to fit in very, very well.
Pro Football Focus's number one safety. I mean, and I don't know how. You got to explain this to me. How are you number one Pro Football Focus safety, and you get the kind of deal he got from the Bucs? How are teams sleeping on him?
Yeah, and the 6'3" frame, he can strike you.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what he brings to the table. I mean, your two inside linebackers have a chance to be, a top 5 tandem in the league. Devin White looks like he's put all that bull crap behind him, and he wants to come. He can have a tremendous season, highly motivated.
Sure.
Right? Go down, go get your money. Go get your bag.
Keep that chip on your shoulder. Maybe bring that crap on the field and play with that intensity and play with that effort.
And I think he will.
Yeah.
I think he will.
I think he definitely has the opportunity to play like that. But I think it always goes back with fans. Roberto Aguayo, right? He's a second-round pick. He didn't work out. Donovan Smith, questionable. Did win a Super Bowl with the Bucs. They go back to that. The linebacker to LSU, that wasn't Jason Light's fault. That was not all his fault. But you're not going to hit on every draft pick.
Let's stay with the players that are here.
Right.
We're going through this roster.
Right.
So this defensive line, I mean, Vita Vea is a Pro Bowler. He can be a huge impact player.
Right.
I hope he has a healthy season. Kalijah Cansey. Now, this has really set him back, this injury. So it's concerning. I thought he was going to be a huge piece to this rush. So now Logan Hall has to step up. JTS has to step up. What do we, Shaq Barrett has had 17 sacks in this league.
Yep.
Okay.
Yaya Diaby.
Yaya Diaby.
That's the guy.
Is he going to be a guy that's a 3rd round pick that turns into a Pro Bowl player?
Yeah.
Certainly not right away. I don't expect a lot from him this year. I expect to see flashes.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 4.5, 5 sacks. I'll take that.
It's a tough transition for a defensive
Nelson,
lineman.
I know gets beat up. The fans don't like him. They get, but the man produces.
Sure.
For the number of plays that he's on the field and the numbers that he puts up, he produces. So, that inside, the Green that they brought back. So the defensive line has a chance to be interesting, really, really interesting if Kalijah Kancey can get out there. So this defense, and Todd Bowles has proven that he knows how to coach top 5 defenses. So that defense right there has a chance to be good. I mean, really, really good. One of the better defenses in this league. Now, there's a lot of question marks on offense, but it's interesting, right? New system, Dave Canales, mobile quarterback. The guy can run. He can throw. Say what you want about Baker Mayfield, but you look at his analytics, he's not a turnover machine. He's about average in turnover worthy plays. Not just you look at, he threw 20 of those years he threw 21 interceptions for a terrible Cleveland team.
Mm.
So let's pump the brakes a little bit on how horrible and trashy Baker Mayfield is, Damon Woody. And now you've got 2 receivers. I mean, I'll put Evans and Godwin up against anybody in the league.
I agree, and they don't get their respect because they go about it as professionals. They're nothing flashy. That's why I always tell fans, be excited about what you have. Yes,
look at the numbers.
Don't take it for granted because you've got 2 professionals that go about it the right way, and they're still productive.
Right.
And you have a guy who takes constant, contract. He does everything he can to lower the contract down. I mean, of course, he gets paid the bonus up front. Does everything for this franchise, being Mike Evans, and hopefully they resign him to a contract extension.
He's going to get his deal.
Yeah, because you want him to remain a Buccaneer for life.
We talked about Trey Palmer. And I think that, personally, I'm drafting Mike Evans in fantasy football. I think he's going to have a huge, and I'll draft Chris Godwin too if I get the chance to. I won't get them both, but I'll draft them.
You may get them both because somebody may be looking and saying, you know what, Chris Godwin wasn't that impressive last year or whatever, but his numbers, his numbers, again, over 100 receptions. They're going to
get a lot of targets.
Yes.
They're going to get a lot of targets.
That's why you have to be excited about this offense.
There's not I don't think, K. Dotton is, he's okay. He's okay. He's getting better. He's okay. So I think they're going to get the majority of targets. Rashad White, I am anxious to see what this guy can do.
Mm.
And Sean Tucker.
Yes. Undrafted free agent. Another guy.
There's a guy that's got a burst and has been super productive in college, track star. He's got a high upside.
Yes.
Could he be the Isaiah Pacheco of this year? You don't know.
That's it, because Pacheco was a 7th round pick for the Chiefs and highly productive player. I mean, that's the reason why the running back market is so low right now, because you don't have to pay $10 million to get a highly productive running back. You can get him in the late rounds, 4th to 7th.
Christopher Cole saying JTS had 3 sacks on Rodgers last week. I haven't watched Hard Knocks yet. I'm going to watch that tonight. I have not watched. I'll report back tomorrow. This roster is very, very interesting, and I'm just excited to see how it plays out. I really am.
Yeah.
They could go up there and beat Minnesota. They're 7-point underdogs, but one of the biggest spreads in week 1. But listen, 6.5 wins. I've already put my money down in Vegas on the over there, so we'll see where it goes.
Smart money.
Before we get out of here, I want to play this Tua thing. You heard about this Tua and Ryan Clark thing?
I have heard about this, yes.
All right, so let's play first what Ryan Clark said about Tua, who, isn't the leanest player, in football.
So now they're calling him Leonard Fournette at this point? They're going back to last year, calling him Leonard Fat
He's a donut shy at 260, but,
Well, listen, if you're Tua, you got to put some size on, right? Because of all the sacks you took last year.
Get a little padding, sure.
God, the guy almost retired because of concussions. All right, let's go out to it.
8 for 7, 61 yards, and an interception. So Rocky start to the game for Tua right there.
Tua when they got them tats.
Yeah, he did.
Tua said,
full sleeve.
Y'all think because I've been hurt, I ain't tough.
I'm gonna tell you what he wasn't doing. He wasn't in the gym. I bet you that.
Come on,
he wasn't with me. He might have spent a lot of time at the tattoo parlor. He was not at the dinner table eating what the nutritionist had advised.
Oh, my God.
He looks happy. Okay, he is thick.
He thick.
Yeah, he's built like a girl work at Onyx in Atlanta right now on the bottom.
Come on now.
Get to the show. I'm
Am I allowed to ask you?
Oh my gosh. Did he really say that?
I lived in Atlanta for a couple of years. Onyx is one of the, let's just say it's not the high end
Yes.
strip club.
Right.
He looks like a girl from Onyx on the
He's
bottom
trying to
side.
say she's thick. He's thick. Yeah, he's thick. Thick thighs save lives. That's what they say.
So Tua, by the way, Dolphin fans, I had one Dolphin fan, Joe Robbie, I don't, as a name on their Twitter is like, the amount of hate from Ryan Clark is I'm like, hate? That's hate? Bro, you're soft. Grow a pair. I mean, my God. Somebody is like, you heard Larry Bird talk trash?
Oh.
That's not even talking trash. That's a joke. That's funny. That's a ribbing. And then Tua took it hard. Here's Tua's response.
I think we all worked hard throughout the offseason. And I'm not someone to talk about myself the entire time, but I mean, it takes a lot. You think I wanted to build all this muscle? Like, nah, to some extent, like I wanted to, I wanted to be a little lighter. There's a mixture of things that people don't understand, that people don't know about, that are talked about, that go behind the scenes. So, I'd appreciate if you kept my name out your mouth. That's what I'd say.
Wow. He went all Will Smith on him.
Nobody even got slapped.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, lighten up, Tua. Lighten up. I think what happened is what's weird is sounds like the Dolphins told him to put on weight and he wanted to be lighter. They told him to put on weight so he could take the pounding a little bit more, and he's like, no, I wanted to be lighter. So there's a disconnect there with the franchise.
Well, we kind of heard this a couple of years ago with Jameis Winston, right? Because he was taking sacks, he had to put on some weight and stuff like that. So, hey, if the team asks you to
like
do,
Fred Sanford,
brother,
nothing changed.
Nothing changed.
All right. Thanks to Scott Carter with our Jeeves Gator report today. Thank you for that. Nick Geddes as well. We'll catch up with Chris Myers another time. Thank you guys for watching. We will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. Pat Burnham from the Osseo will join us with an FSU preview, and we'll also be doing a Bucs preview. I think I'm going to get Dan Lucas on because, he too made his Netflix debut. So the two Netflix stars, the two of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Superstars that we are, will converse. I think that will be good.
Good
so
idea.
we'll do that tomorrow. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you then.